Welcome back to New Mexico Wildlife. I'm Bob Girding. There's a lot of knowledge one has to obtain and maintain in order to be licensed as an outfitter and guide in New Mexico. And given the rugged hunting conditions in many parts of the state, that outfitter could save your life.
Hunting guide Gary Pacheco knows there's more to guiding than knowing where the game is. Things like CPR training.
You never know if something might happen out there in the field, and most of these places that you're hunting, there's nobody else around but you and the person you're hunting with, so that's a real critical part of it in order to just be a little bit safer and make sure everybody comes home in one piece.
And even though you're not required to have an outfitter's license on private land hunts, it doesn't hurt to go through the process.
The test that they give you just covers all of the rules and regulations set in the proclamation. And knowing that stuff is half the battle. It's one thing to be able to get the game, but in order to do it officially and make sure all the licensing is correct and stuff like that can save people a lot of trouble, and going through a licensed guide really helps out.
The minimum age requirement to be a guide is 18, 21 for outfitters, and you must have 3 years experience as a guide before you can be licensed as an outfitter. The difference between a guide and an outfitter is that the outfitter provides the service and equipment for a hunt. A guide works for the outfitter and is the one who will put you on your game. For guides and outfitters, that includes game management. And it's not much different than managing a herd of cattle.
You just basically keep an eye on them, and you know where they're going, coming to feed and coming to water and that kind of thing. And as long as you don't disturb them too much and you give them their space, you can have a lot of success in taking out the ones that aren't really quote-unquote desirable. To give you a certain case, right now we're watching a 5x4 on one of the ranches that we lease, and he'll never really grow up to be something that somebody wants to consider as a trophy or something like that. So we'll try to find him early, and if we can, harvest him. That way that genetic doesn't continue to prosper in that ranch, and it kind of get the kind of horn growth that most people want to see in their trophies.
But still, a 5x4 is a pretty nice bull.
Yeah, definitely. In anybody's book, I would say a 5x4 is a good bull, and of course, along with the horns is all the meat. So that could be the best part about the whole situation. Amen.
And along with managing the herd, there's managing hunters.
We've been pretty fortunate. Most of our hunters have been real good people, so it's been real easy in that aspect. Everybody that comes out with us, we have certain guidelines, of course, for our camp and stuff like that. We don't allow anybody to overindulge in alcohol and no drugs, of course, and everybody's really good about that. Most people that come out just want a real quality hunt, and they'll abide by any rules you set aside for them. And once you get them out there, they're real good about following instruction, and they trust a lot of your judgment, so it really makes it easy.
Another reason to have an experienced guide is proper field dressing and handling of the meat after you harvest your animal.
Again, it's all about experience. Some people don't know how to handle it properly, and a lot gets wasted, but we've done this over and over quite a bit, so we pretty much get every ounce of meat off the animal we can, and it all goes back home and goes in the freezer.
And it's important to age it.
It gets a lot of the gamey taste out. It's very important to get the hide off of them as soon as possible, especially in some of the earlier hunts like the bow hunts where it can still be hot in the afternoons, and then just keeping the meat clean and stuff like that, and as soon as possible getting it into cold storage helps out greatly.
So if you take a step back and look at the big picture, what's in it for the guide?
Like you said, labor of love, and getting people like John, who took this rifle hunt, he dreamt about it for 35 years, and to be there with him and help make that possible and make it a reality, that can be the biggest kick out of the whole thing, is helping other people fulfill dreams like that.
If you're interested in becoming a licensed outfitter and guide in New Mexico, you can log on to the Department of Game and Fish's website at wildlife.state.nm.us.